Hello, everyone. This is Kat York, and this is the Recovery Catalyst podcast, formerly Call Her Kat. I changed the name to align more with my mission, which is to bring awareness and to do my part to speak about topics that are important to me, which are addiction, mental health, trauma, and most importantly, recovery. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's addictions can be different, whether it's food, alcohol, drugs, shopping, whatever. And my goal is to shine a light on these topics, which are often misunderstood and come with a lot of judgment and stigma. And so I feel Recovery Catalyst encompasses that a little bit better and also focuses on a way out of addiction and the darker times of our life. So, with that being said, I would like to welcome our guest today. Our guest today is Bryan Blackmon. Bryan left Texas for California chasing a dream and ended up homeless, sleeping in his car, drowning in alcohol and addiction. Then an 85-year-old landlord named Elaine changed everything. She didn't just give him a room, she gave him a reason to rise. Now sober, viral, and on a mission, Bryan built Crab Life Crew to prove that no matter how deep you've dug your hole, you can claw your way back out. Please welcome Bryan to the show. Hi, Bryan.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. I've been looking forward to this interview.
Yeah.
I have. So your journey is an interesting one, um, and it kind of reminds me of sometimes those little coincidences in life where we don't expect good things to happen to us at our lowest. And before we get to Elaine and where you are now, could you tell us why you left Texas for California?
Sure. I just always had a dream since I was a young kid to live out here. I'm a musician. I started watching, MTV as a young kid and seeing all these 80 hairband guys, running the Sunset Strip and being in Los Angeles. And I started playing guitar, started playing in local bands around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that's just what it was. I just always had this urge to move to California, Los Angeles specifically.
Mm.
So it took me till I was 42 to get here, but yeah, that's what I did.
And did you move there by yourself or were you with a band?
No, I did. I left everything. Toxic relationship, my amazing, wonderful family, friends, everybody. I just packed up my little hatchback car and just put in it what I thought I might need and I hit the road. No plan
And
in sight.
now, were you already struggling with addiction at this point?
Correct. My whole life has been a struggle with addiction and alcoholism. It just it got to a, how do I say, it didn't get darker till later of my
Hmm.
moving to California, but when I got here it did reach a new level of partying because I wanted to truly experience the sex, drugs, and rock and roll of California and that
Hmm.
lifestyle.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I had
yeah.
dreamed of my whole life, and I was already so far into my addiction and everything else that, once I got here, I really put it into motion.
Well, I will say those 80 hair bands like Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses,
Yeah.
the videos especially, I think, not so much these days, but like back in the 80s and 90s, they really glamorized that like really partying lifestyle like it was something you were missing out on.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and not that it's to blame, but it certainly doesn't help, you know.
It was
Um,
inspiring.
yeah, it was inspiring. It was inspiring.
It put me at a place to start,
Yes, yes, yes. And
yeah, so yeah, that was the dream, and I definitely did that. I definitely did that.
and once you got to California, how did things unfold for you?
Well, I already had come out here a year previous through a friend in Texas that was had moved back from LA that was a porn star out here. She left Texas, came out here, did that whole thing, met some really cool
Mm,
people, and I had just graduated from the Art Institute of Dallas with a degree in audio and video production.
mm,
But there was nothing in Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas to
yeah,
really utilize it or do a whole lot of it. I mean, there's plenty of concerts and stuff that come through, but nothing like, Los Angeles.
Right.
So she knew that I, had already wanted to move out here. So she hooked me up with a guy that she was dating for a while who worked at a studio in Malibu and had some pretty good contacts. And I came out here and hung out for a weekend in Malibu and in Venice,
Mhm.
and told the guy I'd be back in a year. And like most people in his situation, thought bull crap, this guy's not going to be back. Everybody says that, but then actually doing it's a different story. Well, I went home and I made a plan for a
Mhm.
year. I wrote down every single thing that I could possibly write down front and back of this notebook of what it
Mhm.
would take. I mean, how much gas in my little car that I had would a U-Haul fit to it? How much was a U-Haul going to cost me there and back? And just, I mean, everything I could possibly think of, debts that I had to
Yeah,
pay for before I could even, leave the state of Texas. And I just stuck to that plan for an entire year. Whatever I could do to mark those items off, I did that for a year, and next thing I know, I was packing up my car and driving out here.
that's pretty wild.
Yeah, it was a wild ride. Still been a
And
wild ride.
and at what point when you were in California did your addiction kind of take hold on you a little bit stronger?
From the moment I got here,
Mhm.
it it got ramped up, but it really took a turn when the homelessness. I moved into a house in Venice with that same guy. His name is
Mhm.
Jamie, and he's still a really good friend of mine. But we had a huge falling out, what put me in a spot of nowhere to go and moving my
Mhm.
stuff out again. No family, no real friends, no money at this point.
Mhm.
Just survival mode,
Okay.
straight survival mode. So that led me to some hostels that I was
Mhm.
staying in for a while, and then summer hit and it got more expensive to stay in these hostels, and that put
Mhm.
me in a tent in on the library lawn in Venice Beach,
Mhm.
and gang members trying to take my tent from me, and it got
Yikes.
really really scary. And
Yeah.
at that point it started to get it was already survival mode.
Yeah.
I was already in fight or flight, that was already established, but it got to a point of, man, I don't even know what foot to put in front of the other. And the
Yeah.
only way that I could even stay focused, as weird as crazy as this sounds, was to just keep my body fed
Yeah.
with my addiction. If I slowed down for a second, California, it's not an easy place to move to, especially being from the Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas area where everybody's pretty much so kind and polite.
Mhm.
And you get here and, it's a lot more rough. I guess you
Mhm.
could say, if you're not hustling out here, it's hard to survive. Either you have a really good job and you're doing well, or you
Yeah.
are living with two or three roommates and working two or three jobs just to make do. From what
Yeah.
I found, that was
Yeah.
what I figured out. So it just stayed in survival mode for a long time until I moved to
Jeez.
Huntington Beach and found a lane, and that's when things just got dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it's interesting to hear how you went from you were planning to move. You had the notebook. You were making all the plans. You were really organized. You're getting your stuff together so you can go pursue your dream. And then, fast forward some time. You're now homeless. And I think that shows how addiction can just ravage your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Go ahead.
no, I'm just curious, like when you were on when you were homeless, what was that like? Because often people, as we just spoke of, even about addiction being glamorized, that's not glamorous.
No,
You don't want to be living on a lawn, worrying about gang members. You know what I mean? Like,
no, not at all. No place to
yeah,
shower, no place to use the bathroom. It
and
was,
that's, and I think some people miss like how addiction stops becoming fun and becomes almost like a need. You know what I mean? Like you said, you needed to to keep using.
right. If I would have tried to to stop, I already knew, the withdrawals from the drugs and alcohol were going to be brutal. And sleeping in a
Mm,
tent, and just trying to survive. I'd got a little bit of money from the state of California because this was during COVID, right? So, I got some money and I
mm,
was just barely surviving. It got to a point where I tried to start this virtual reality business and spent all my money on virtual reality headsets on the Venice Beach boardwalk. And that turned out to be a nightmare. So I blew most of that money and, you know, it was a really cool idea. It just didn't work as well as I had it imagined in my head. So I'm broke again. And I moved from, I had a U-Haul that I had tried to do this virtual reality business out of for a while. So I was homeless in Santa Monica and back and forth from Santa Monica to Venice and um sleeping in a U-Haul in the tent. I would somehow make some money doing some hustling and would get back in the hostel for a few weeks and then get back out of it. And, everything just was fighting for survival, and
yeah,
the homelessness was, man, it beat me up so bad, like emotionally, spiritually,
yeah.
mentally, physically. It takes a toll on you, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, aside from the physical dangers you have to worry about, I'm sure violence is a real thing, fighting, and as you said, gang members. The emotional toll it takes on you to be homeless. That's not something that anybody really aspires. It's not like you woke up one day and said, "I want to be homeless." You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
heavy toll on you emotionally. And where did what was the turning point where you met Elaine?
That's when I moved to Huntington Beach. So I went from Venice, Santa Monica, Culver City, Woodland Hills, Canoga Park,
Wow.
and then to Huntington Beach. So I made a big LA travel journey, trek, if you will, and then was guided. I've always believed in a higher power. I've always believed in something greater than myself. Call that God, love, source, creator, Jesus. I don't care what you call it. I grew up in a really Southern Baptist Christian home, and I left all the religion behind and just knew that there was something greater. And so I
Yeah,
was always, understanding of the fact that there was, if I listened to that gut intuition, if I listened to that instinct, it would always prove itself right. But then again, I don't like to be told what to do, even if it's my own voice and my own spirit telling me what to do a lot of times. So I would go against it just to prove it wrong, which would lead me to
right.
worse situations. So, point of that story is listen to your gut because it's probably guiding you down the right path. Um, but when I moved to Huntington Beach on that gut intuition, I ended up homeless again, sleeping in my car. And at that point, I knew in the deepest depths of my being that there was something greater for me to do. And I've
Mhm.
really always known that. And other people in my life, my loved ones, my family, friends that I was close to, always knew that Brian Blackmon had something more to offer the world, but I just could never get sober, and
Right.
didn't really want to. I did it for selfish reasons, for family, jobs, probation, parole, all that kind of stuff. But once I got out here, the there was some things that happened. I ended up meeting somebody that I shared a moment with that had a Lamborghini. I was walking out of a store. My favorite car is a Lamborghini. Him and
Mhm.
I got to talking, and I was pretty. I was a wreck, and clearly he knew it, and he pointed out that this was a gift of his sobriety. This Lamborghini
Mhm.
was.
Yeah.
So he told me what meeting he was going to or been going to for like the past 25 years in Huntington Beach. And so it took a couple months. I showed up there and all I could do was raise my hand and say I'm tired, right?
Mhm.
In tears. But at that point I had found Elaine and I ran into each other by that same God, that same universe, that same thing. I was looking for a place to live out here, and like I said, was sleeping in my car and driving back and forth to LA for work. I'd finally got a job in the industry that I worked in,
Mhm.
doing the audio and video stuff with my degree,
Mhm.
and so just just trying to survive still in that fight or flight mode. And once I met Elaine and she gave me that opportunity and gave me that roof over my head, that's when the alcohol and drug addiction got to a dark place. Now I didn't have to worry about a roof over my head,
Mm,
right? So
mm,
that gave me that spiritual uplifting, that physical uplifting, that push that I needed. Not to get sober, it just gave me um this glimpse of hope. And I'm not a big fan
yeah.
of the word hope because I think that that word, when you speak of it, it comes from a place of lack. Like I'm hoping in something, but
Mm,
you're already
yeah.
lacking it. And
Right.
so I don't tend to use that word, but that's what it did. It gave me a little bit of hope that there was something greater that could happen.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's when the addiction, when I finally had that roof over my head, things just went to a dark place. It wasn't even so much survival mode now. Now it was just, what do I do next?
Yeah.
What do I
At,
do?
at what at what point did was there like a specific event that happened that you said this has got to stop, or was it just a culmination of everything you've been through?
Well, it was that moment of me meeting that that man about the Lamborghini that kind of
Mm,
set this little seed. And then it was 800 and I think 99 days ago today. So tomorrow will be 900 days. Um,
congratulations.
thank you. I was brushing my teeth in the mirror in my bathroom. When I looked in at that reflection for the first time in my life, I thought, oh my God,
Mm,
what has happened to you? It wasn't even one of those flattering reflections. It was a very
mm,
dark, spiritless, lifeless shell
mm,
of a human being reflection. And for the first time in my life, I looked at myself and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And all those voices, all the spirit that's in you that's saying something, the voices in your head that are saying something, all of it lined up at one specific moment when I was brushing my teeth and looking at myself in the mirror. And all I heard in my entire body was, you are worth it.
yeah.
It sent chills up and down my spine. At that moment, I knew if I didn't make a decision now, I'm going to look forward 80 years and being in the same place, doing the exact same thing, maybe even worse, maybe not even still alive,
Yeah.
maybe jail, prison because I did
Yeah.
something bad. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
And that put a different kind of fear in me.
Mm,
So I had that seed planted. I heard those words being spoke to me, you are worth it. And then I had this like reflection of, man, I've been doing this my entire life. I
yeah.
kind of want to see what the other side has to offer.
Right.
I'm wanting to see what could happen if I truly did something to better myself.
Right.
So that was that
W-
turning point.
Was there, and sometimes you've heard, or I think we all have heard, like, oh, drugs or alcohol, they keep me inspired, they keep me creative. Was that ever a case for you where you were worried about, like, did you feel that it helped you become more creative when you were using versus, was that a fear for you?
Sure, it did. What I got more scared about was getting sober. Am I going to be able to laugh again? Am I going to be able to
Mm,
go out and hang out with people again? What if
mm,
everybody I meet, a million thoughts go through your head or went through my head, but one of them was, will I ever laugh and have fun again?
mm,
That scared me more than, I can still pick up my guitar because that's just in me to do. That I
right.
just love playing and that creativity just happens. Did it have its place for a while? Absolutely. 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 But I was more terrified of the normal living because I've never lived in a quote unquote
Mm,
normal body and a
yeah,
normal lifestyle. So I was just terrified of all the things. Will I be able to go to a concert again and enjoy the music? Will I laugh again? Will I meet somebody that, you know, is is not a drug and alcoholic? Because those are the
right.
only people that I knew. So where do you go
Yeah,
to meet new people? But first I had to worry about just getting sober and I had to push all
yeah.
those thoughts out of my head. But yeah, that was a terrifying part of it.
And I'm assuming that you went back to the rooms of AA. You started, that was where your path took you.
Right. I started going there when I decided to do this. And mind you, there were several attempts before that. I think I went 9 days and then maybe 7 days. And it was just brutal. So at that point, this was before I looked in the mirror, it was before that point. So when I decided to get sober after looking in the mirror that day and that happened, that's when I started going to the AA meetings and just, raised my hand and was like, man, I'm just tired. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
At that same time, I started calling around looking for sober living places or rehabs to get into that my insurance would allow. And it was, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 days into it before I actually got a bed. And I was there for 3 days and saw people relapsing and they were bringing in alcohol and they were just,
Mm.
sneaking it in. And I was watching all this go down, going through withdrawals. And that was what really made it hard because it was like I was trying to get the help.
Yeah.
I wanted it. I was trying to get help, but the
Yeah.
place that I went to was, providing what I was trying to get away from.
Yeah.
So knowing myself and the withdrawals I've already gone through so many times, through all in and out of the jails and the rehabs and other sober livings that I've gone through my entire life, I knew that I could do this. I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't know how bad it was going to be this time, but yeah, I
Yeah.
checked myself out and I came home and I locked myself in my bedroom for 30 days.
Oof, that's rough.
Yeah. Rough to the point where my fingertips and my toes were literally, and I use the word literally as in literally bruised because I was clawing the carpet in tears so hard, just begging God to take my life. I couldn't do it. When I look back on it now, I still don't know how I made it through that, other than it was, just meant to be. But
No, you're quite lucky that you didn't pass away from that because withdrawals are very serious to alcohol, drugs, all of it's very serious to come off, especially alcohol.
right,
The withdrawals it's very serious.
yeah,
So
I didn't eat much. It was, I would take showers when I could just to feel somewhat clean from just all the
right.
sweating and the throwing up and using the bathroom, and it was rough. I, I didn't understand how much fentanyl was being used to cut methamphetamines
Mm,
these days. One drug that I never got into, and I'm so grateful for, is fentanyl. That was just something I'd already done the heroin back in the day and struggled
yeah,
with that for a long, long time. So fentanyl just scared me. And that was one thing that, I'm very grateful that I never got into. But when you're using it in a form because you're addicted to methamphetamines
yeah.
and it's being cut with it, those withdrawals were on top of the alcohol and the pills and the weed and the meth, all of it was coming out of me at one time and it was intense. It was scary. I don't recommend that to anybody. Please
No,
understand that. I
no,
do not. I
no,
do
that's not
not
a
recommend that to anybody.
no, but I think we need to highlight why you did that, which is you were trying to get sober and you're trying to detox and you're in a facility where people were bringing the substances in that you were trying to get away from, which is, that happens probably more often than not. And so, that kind of puts you in a precarious situation. Like, do I stay? How do I resist? Because I mean, that's not a fun place to withdraw, and then it's not a fun place to withdraw and then be around the drug you're trying to get away from.
Right.
And so yeah, I don't think it wasn't like that was your first choice to go do this by yourself.
No, but once I attempted that, I was so determined.
Mhm.
There was no stopping me at this point. When I do something, I either do it all the way or I don't do it at all. There's not a lot of gray area with me in doing. I either go 110% or I just don't do it. So when I made the decision that I'd had enough, I just flat out had enough of that life.
Mhm.
I knew that if I didn't do this by any means necessary, that I would probably end up, on the streets for the rest of my life or in jail or just dead.
Mhm.
And I was truly just inspired. by what life could be on the other side of this.
And um did you have a good support group around you, or were you still kind of more insulated, kind of by yourself a little bit
I
going
was
through this?
pretty much by myself. Elaine, I went downstairs and told her about halfway through it all
Mhm.
what was going on, expecting to get kicked out. I really was. I
Yeah,
was like,
no,
she's
yeah,
probably going to
no,
kick me out. But I can't look back on it and say if she would have kicked me out, would I have remained sober? I don't know. I can't look at it that way because this is the way my life turned out. So I don't like to do what
yeah,
ifs.
right,
However, as far as support was concerned, when I went down and told her what I was doing and what I was going through and why I hadn't been going downstairs, because her and I had become like family at this point,
yeah,
and she just told me that you're welcome here. I love you. I'm here for you. Just go back upstairs and do whatever you need to do and let me know how I can help. And so that's what I did. And she'd already had her oldest daughter passed away from a brain aneurysm that was
mm,
possibly brought on by her own alcoholism. Her other two daughters are recovering alcoholics, and she had two grandsons that both passed away from fentanyl overdoses. So
mm,
me putting her in this position terrified me because I really felt guilty of what I was putting her through. It
yeah,
wasn't cool for me to be able to be putting myself and her in that situation, so I was terrified. It just And then my family, being in Texas, they've always been so supportive and loving, but they'd
yeah,
also, been through enough. They just wanted it to stop, man. They just wanted it to stop. And would I ever make that decision to stop? And so yeah, my family's always been super supportive of me bettering myself. And but then again, they weren't here.
yeah.
So it was, a lot of me doing it on my own.
And so now you're detoxed. You you were homeless, but you're on the road to recovery. How You're 2+ years sober now,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And what has been the hardest part for you of staying sober?
Yeah, that's a great question. At first, the holidays
Mm,
were hard. I I think I'm super blessed and super fortunate because I haven't really had any desire to go backwards. There were a few times where I struggled with, man, like I don't know if I can take this right now.
yeah,
But it wasn't, man, I need to go to a bar and get a drink. That's going to calm me down.
yeah,
I learned that during those moments, I would rather stick with those feelings and that fear or that scaredness or maybe even a little bit of depressed. Why can't I go do this? I just want to
right,
feel better. I would much rather be going through all of that and fighting that and learning from it rather than wake up the next day regretting everything that I've worked so hard for.
yeah,
And I understood that fine line. So I haven't really, like I said, I either go all the way in or I don't.
yeah,
For me, it's learning through those tough moments and truly understanding what we are really capable of. If we put our minds to something, that
mm,
we can crawl out of the depths of hell. And that doesn't mean that you can get yourself out and every day is going to be a struggle. Most days are just mind blowing amazing.
yeah,
I think we just stay in our heads about having to worry about tomorrow or thinking about the regrets that we have from the past. And I've learned that if I think about the future too much or lean too much into the future, it gives
mm,
me anxiety.
yeah,
My past is my past. I'm very grateful for it. I have no regrets. I have done some horrible things and I've done some amazing things, but they've all helped me shape who I am today. And today I'm very proud of myself. So I've learned that those hard parts of staying sober, I it's more of a it's going to be okay. And I would rather learn from those hard moments than regret making a decision to fall backwards.
Is that what inspires you to start Crab Crew?
That kind of happened naturally on its own. How that happened is just another one of those God put in my place at the right time, at the right way with the right people. I started making TikTok videos about Elaine and I. I found it fascinating that the generational help that this lady offered to me, right? I was 45 when I met her, 44, 45, and she was 85, right? Why did this lady take a chance on me?
Yeah,
And so I started making TikTok videos about, our daily interactions with one another. It went crazy viral, and I started getting all these messages from people saying, "Hey, man, you should start live streaming." And TikTok agencies, what's your story? We want to hear more about this. You should share your story live streaming. And I didn't really want to, but one day I decided, you know what? Let's just hit the go live button and see what happens. And I started doing that, and I just kept doing it, and it started building this community, and then it turned into this family. Well, people send virtual gifts on TikTok live streaming, and it makes your screen do all these fun, cool, interesting things.
right.
So I always am out and about on the Huntington Beach Pier and by the pavilion area or downtown. And I've gotten to know a lot of people now. And so there's always people around watching me and doing my thing. And this woman had sent, her name is Kari. She sent this crab gift and it starts dancing on your head and doing all this stuff. Well, I had just yelled out, Kari gave me crabs right here on TikTok. Really? You just gave me crabs? And everybody thought it was the funniest thing. And so
Yeah,
people started sending it to me, and then I would call out their name and tell them they just gave me crabs, and everybody just got a kick out of it.
right.
Next thing I know, I start getting crab gifts from all over the world. I've got crab blankets, crab keychains, crab socks, crab boxers, crab just everything. And so I started really digging into like, why did this moment happen? What is it about the crab that
Yeah.
it started, becoming this thing? It was like, why did this happen? And my own curiosity, I just started researching crabs and learned that they're super resilient. They're adaptive.
Mm,
They figure out their way in life. They don't let whatever roadblock or trouble that comes their way hold them back. And sometimes they just stop and pause. So I found that super interesting. Well, I've had to become resilient. I've had to become adaptive being sober.
mm.
Little did I know I'd been training for this my whole life, right? Through the drug and alcohol addiction, you become resilient and adaptive to your situation.
I'd say so.
So I didn't really think about how resilient and adaptive I've become over the years of my addiction and my drinking. So I just sat down one day and I was like, man, that's why this happened. Then I did a little more research and I found the crab mentality. Are you familiar with this?
No,
Okay, so
no.
check this out. Check this out. So if
Okay.
you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket,
Yeah.
they'll try to crawl out. When they
Right.
do, the others will reach down and pull them back in to not let them escape. It's called the crab mentality,
Okay.
right?
Wow.
So I started doing some more thinking and was like, well, how many times have I been trying to get out of this mess and been pulled back in?
Mm,
But oftentimes it wasn't, I mean, it was other people, places, and things, but often more so than not, it was me pulling myself back down,
mm,
back into it, right?
mm,
So I started really like analyzing this whole thing. Well, I've pulled myself out of this container with the other crabs in it. So I started thinking about what could crab stand for.
mm.
And what I had to do was I had to get clean, and that was the sea, right? I had to learn how to clear that chaos and those weeds and those lies that we've continuously told ourselves over the course of our life. Billboards, parents, grandparents, teachers, preachers, TV, magazines, social media, all these things that tell us what we need to look like to be accepted or how we need to act to be accepted. Just
Yeah.
so we've built this persona of who we are in our brain, which in my humbled opinion is a big lie, right?
Mm,
You have been told what to feel, what to say, what to act, and what to look like. instead of really stopping and thinking about what do you enjoy? What do you want to be? Who do you think that you are?
Yeah.
But to learn how to clear out all that chaos and get clean mind, body, and spirit. Then I had the R was perfect for resilience. The A was perfect for adaptability.
Mhm.
And then the B landed on the bottom, which is the foundation, which is I had to believe that I was worth so much more. I
Mm.
had to believe that there was something that I could do or believe in myself in a different way that I've never even experienced. And what could that outcome be? How great could those possibilities be?
Yeah.
And without a strong foundation, you can build anything on it, but how long is it going to last? How long will it stay together? So it just came to be the breaking the crab mentality. So if I can pull myself out of this bucket, out of this container,
Mm.
it only makes sense for me to want to teach the next person how to do it so they can pull the next person out.
I love
And
that.
so they can pull the next person out. And everybody learns how to become through simple disciplines. They're not always easy. I take that back. They're not always, but it's a few disciplines that I do on a daily basis.
Mm.
Again, like I said earlier, I'm not one for rules, although rules are needed. I like
Right.
to push that line, right? So rehabs and AA meetings and stuff like that, great, grand and wonderful.
Yeah.
But when they tell you that you have to do it their way or it's not going to work,
Mm.
that's where I have issues.
Yeah.
So what I've created, I've spent months going through all this information and my thoughts and just reorganizing it all. And then I started laying out my own daily habits and they're just disciplines. It's just a different way of life, right?
Mm.
If you I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do. I'm just wanting to share with you what I do to keep a smile on my face, to keep peace in my heart, joy in my heart, gratitude for the five simple things in life. I was given
Mm.
another chance at life today. I have a
Mm.
roof over my head, shoes on my feet, clothes on my back, and food in my stomach.
Mm.
After that, everything else is just a bonus,
Yeah.
right? So breaking the crab mentality is what I know that I'm just here to help people with and help you become the better version of yourself. As I'm working on it daily as well,
Yeah.
you know.
No, and I think how is the crab community growing? Is
Well, it started off with 7
yeah.
people watching me, and then it was like 4,200 followers, and now it's at 143,000 followers.
Wow.
23 million times viral, I think, is the total views and everything that I've got on my social media page. Um, and so now I've got Crab Crew Discord, and there's well over 250, 280 people, I think, in it now, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
And so everybody is just the greatest thing about it is somebody can say, man, guys, I'm really having a bad day today. I'm really struggling. And there will be, I can't even tell you how many people will jump in and say, oh my God, we got you. What are you doing? What are you going through? Just helping each other out. And it's taking that step past a community and it's become like a family. And it's
Mm.
something I'm really, really proud of. And I love seeing everybody else, helping each other and being there for another, because we truly don't ever know what that next person is going through. You can have the biggest smile on your face, but really hurting and struggling on the inside. And I believe that vibration and just smiling and offering some kind of, just sometimes you just gotta listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes all somebody wants is just for you to listen, just for a minute, you know?
Well, I think your community highlights something that's important with sobriety and probably in life in general is you have to adapt. Because like there's going to be times you can't make it to a meeting. There's going to be
Right.
times that and detoxes sometimes aren't always available. You can't always get a bed. Or same with rehabs can be expensive. You can run into insurance issues and all this. And there's barriers sometimes I believe for some of these resources for those that are struggling. And your community seems to, from what I'm hearing from you, is more about um, not telling you how to live, but like showing you ways that you can live better.
Right. And that there are others out there that want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
There are people out there that truly want the best for other people. Not everybody is there to tear you down and
Mm.
make fun of you or tell you that you can't do it or you're not worth it or you're too old or you're too far gone. I think that we hear that a lot, maybe not just from other people, but in our own mindset, in our own heart, in
Mm,
our own spirit. We tell ourselves, I'm 55 years old. I'm too far gone, or I'm too old to be able to learn this new skill, or
yeah,
my life is what it is already. There's no changing it. And
yeah.
that's what I enjoy helping people look at themselves a little different from and knowing that it's
Mm,
not too late. You're still breathing, right?
yeah.
You're still here.
If you woke up today, it's a good day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you also do coaching, is that correct? Like you work with people one on one, is that correct?
Right. And that's where the crabcrewlife.com website and the whole it's a transformation experience. To me, it's like that word course, just sounds so redundant or like, here, I'm here to just get your money and teach you the best way.
Yeah,
And, any other way is just dumb. That's not what it's about to me. It is just looking at some very simple, basic disciplines in life. A couple of them. I do not watch negative TV, negative movies, things. I don't hang around negative people. I don't touch my phone 30 to 45 minutes when I first get up in the morning. I don't let others influence me to guide my
mm,
day.
right.
I spend time in silence, and I know that that is something that a lot of people struggle with because when you start sitting by yourself and being alone, your brain goes nuts,
Oh yeah,
right? And we've gotten to the point of we're scrolling so much
yeah,
and filling that void. It's almost like a drug in and of itself. So when you
yeah.
really take that time to put intention into how you start your day, can really change the entire course of how your day is going to go from that moment on. So, it's just some things like that that I practice on a daily basis that have kept me, it's worked for me. It's worked for me, and I just want to share those things with people and find out where they're at and how they can become better versions of themselves because we never know when that last breath is going to be taken. And I'll be damned
No.
if I go out tomorrow or right now and at least not be grateful for what this universe and this time has offered me.
What is what is next for you for Crab Crew? Is there anything up and coming for you or
Well, I've taken the last month off of live streaming. I've been doing it for almost 2 years for
mm,
almost 6 hours a day.
yikes?
And yeah, I just needed to step away and just kind of view life through my lens instead of through the screen. But I leave tomorrow morning to go to Texas for my grandparents' 70th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations to them. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
absolutely. So I'm excited about going to see my family, and then I'm going to go live for the first time back on TikTok in a month,
Mm,
uh, to just do the whole downtown Fort Worth thing. And
mm,
but who knows? Who knows? I've got so many more podcasts I'm doing and just sharing my story and get back to live streaming and just sharing life with people and letting
yeah.
people feel if I can make somebody laugh, smile, show them the beach, show them a sunset, a sunrise, something that a lot of
Yeah.
people don't get to see or that might bring a smile to their face. So come join us. We have a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughs, a lot of crazy, cool, fun moments that happen. We just kind of take it day by day and show by show and see what happens, but it's always a good time.
And I see the guitar in your background and is music still part of
Oh,
still part of
absolutely.
your
Yeah, I don't play in a band or anything right now, but I do, take time out of my day to sit and play. That's just something that I have to do. My spirit needs it.
and what is the Crab Crew mean to you? Like when you look back at where you were from being homeless on the street, you know, detoxing, all those heavy moments, and you're here now, you've created this community, you have this huge following. What does that mean to you?
That's a great question. I'm just so proud of it. It means that I, what it's done for me is realize that I have a purpose. Like when I first started doing this, it was about me. It was about Brian Blackmon and what my story is or who Elaine is in my life and how that whole thing started. Now it's become so much bigger than me. It's become this community, this family where everybody just loves saying hello to each other and laughing with each other and being a part of something bigger than ourselves. And that's the real purpose for me, is just continuing doing something that gives me a purpose and that can give other people a reason to just smile and maybe look at their own
Yeah.
life from a different perspective just for 1 second. Like I never thought that that I could see my own life in that way. If you get off of my live stream or watch one of my videos and you don't feel like you were doom scrolling and you had a smile on your face or felt some
Mm.
authenticity or some realness or some joy out of it, then that's just what I want to keep doing. And when I look back on it and think about where it's become, it's just kind of beyond my. I just keep rolling with it, man. It's just, I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I'm so proud of it and I'm so grateful for it that I just want to keep going, and wherever that takes me is where I'll go.
And who knows? Maybe there's a Lamborghini in your future. Who
You know
knows?
what? If you know, th- sure,
We're gonna put it out there. We're gonna put it
we're gonna
out
put it
there.
out there. Absolutely, absolutely.
And I'm curious, is if someone's listening and they're struggling with sobriety, sustaining it, they're new to it, what would you say to them right now?
Don't give up. I know that sounds so cliche and so easy, but you truly have no idea what is waiting for you on that other side.
Mhm.
Who knows what other life or who others' lives you might change just from that decision of bettering yourselves.
Mm.
If if energy is neither created nor destroyed, and you can tune into a high frequency or you can be a complaining negative person that's always on a low frequency, that's what this
Yeah.
world is going to reflect back to you, right? As within, so without. If you put that
Mm.
positive, that belief, that understanding, that knowing that you are destined for so much more, sometimes you just have to take it minute by minute, but you have to believe that you are worth so much more than that lifestyle. And when you look back on it, really, you probably know where all of it takes you.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
no
never
place
really
good.
anywhere good.
No, no. So I truly want people to know their worth, and that you just don't ever know what's on the other side of that, and how many people you could end up helping yourselves just by bettering your own life.
Yeah, because it's hard to see sometimes when you're in the depths of it and you're
Oh,
struggling, and
sure.
but I think those words, as simple as they may be, are still hold true. Don't give up. Like they
Yeah.
say in what AA, don't give up until the miracle happens.
Yeah. A lot of people stop
Yeah.
4 feet from gold.
Yeah. 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 It's always, what I have found is it always gets a little bit darker before things actually, you know.
And it will, but you can't know what joy is without pain.
Mm.
You can't know what light is without dark, right? You can't know gratitude without loss.
Mm.
No, it's the yin and the yang. You have to go through pain to be able to understand the joy and live the joy. Getting
Yeah.
sober and changing your life is not easy. Most people are
Mhm.
fearful of it.
Yeah.
They're afraid of the unknown. But
Yeah.
for me, that's the journey of it.
Yeah.
And the journey helps me understand more about where I'm at, who I am, and what it is that I'm doing. And I would much rather wake up with a smile on my face and be grateful for 5 simple things than go back to that darkness. And even though you get sober, or you are a shopaholic, like you said, or you're an overeater or just depressed,
Yeah.
it's not just drugs and alcohol. I think that falls under the umbrella of just
Yeah.
change,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So just know your worth. Know that you're worth having so much more, and you're worthy of having everything that this life can offer you in the short time that we're here.
And you're only, I mean, look at you. You're just a couple years into sobriety, and
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
already building this crazy community of people, the Discord, your TikTok. I'm curious, what does Elaine think of all this? What is she like?
She
This, I mean,
enjoys it.
it's
Sometimes
gotta be wild for her to like.
it is, because she'll come up, like she can come home from she plays bridge every day, and
Mm.
uh so she could go to grocery store on the way home, and she'll come home and call me, and she's like, "Come downstairs. I got to tell you something right now." I'm like, "All right, what's up?" She goes, "I was in the grocery store, and I was
Oh
just
boy.
going to get eggs and something for dinner, and this lady said, 'Oh my God, are you Elaine from TikTok?'"
Oh,
And
yeah.
she just gets the biggest kick out of it. She doesn't really understand the vastness of all of it, but yeah, she enjoys it. She has fun with it, and she's just grateful that everything worked out the way that it did and the way that it has.
I think that's great because she's just shopping for dinner and somebody's like, I know you from TikTok. And she's like, what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves it. She gets a kick out of it.
I love that. Any last words for us, Bryan, before we?
Just I just want to say thank you for taking the time to have me on here. I really, really do appreciate it. And if you are not in a happy place right now, or just in a place where you're fearful and scared, just know that you are worth so much more. You truly are, and people want to see you succeed. Here's another quick little thought.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many people, if you ask yourself this, if you look at it,
Mm-hmm.
do you know how many people would truly love to have your life?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are people who are way further down and hurting 10 times more and struggling a million times more than what you think you're going through right now. There's somebody that wishes they were as beautiful as you, that had just that roof over their head, that you got a 1976 Pinto, and somebody would give anything to have that Pinto.
Yeah.
Somebody would give anything to have the $10,000, $50,000 in debt that you have because they're a million in debt. Just
Yeah.
it's all in perspective. And I guess that about wraps it up for me.
Well, thank you, Bryan. I've enjoyed our conversation. I
Yeah, me
appreciate
too.
you taking the time. I love what you've done. I love what you've made crab stand for: clean, resilient, adaptability, belief. And crabs are tough little creatures.
They are.
They are. They're no joke.
No, they
They're
carry
no
their home
joke.
on them, and they're always out and about
Yeah,
moving and shaking and
yeah,
doing their
yeah.
thing.
They're not too afraid of much from what I've seen.
They're not.
Um, no, no. So I think um, everybody can visit your website. You're crabcrewlife.com. You're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube.
Yep.
Um, and the website is very cool. Bryan has a countdown on there, not countdown, but like a sober clock, I should say.
Sober
Um,
Club. That's a great
sober
word.
clock, and it's a cool website. There's some cool merchandise there too as well, and you're on Discord as well as you mentioned, and all those links I'll put in the show notes. Um, and all ways to connect with me will be in the show notes as well. And I want to thank everyone for listening, for checking us out. Thank Bryan again for being here. And I wish
Yeah,
you
thank
nothing
you.
but the best when it comes to Crab Crew and everything you got going for you, and a lot of years of continued sobriety and health ahead of you.
Yeah,
So
thank you so much. I appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thank you. And we'll see everybody next time.